and welcome back to Gav Goes In. Guys, big up yourselves. As I said, make sure you smash the like button, make sure you sub to the channel, and make sure you're sharing the channel as well. Um, Big up to everyone, for yesterday's stream. Obviously, we was going for four and a half hours, which is crazy. So big up to at your boy Truance. Big up to Owen from at B2R Sports as well for coming on the stream. And as I said, man, it was a good little stream. It was obviously doing the reaction to the recent five-a-side game between obviously our team, which is No Defense FC, and obviously Owen's team, which is B2R Sport. So, yeah, the reaction to the game was good, and it was good to get someone, that was obviously watching the game. It was good to get his viewpoint on it to see how he kind of saw it, and as I said, man, it was, playing that game against them, a well-organized team. It was good to see that, you know, that the opposition and in terms of Owen himself, what he watched, in a sense where he actually felt that we did definitely offer something. And for me personally, I know there's a lot more to come in terms of personnel and in terms of just my own performance as well. So yeah, obviously the fact that he thought that there was signs there that that we are a good team, etc. As I said, there's a lot more to come from myself and obviously from the team as well. And obviously we got into some Man United talk. It was getting a bit heated, but listen, football is about opinions, of course. And it's good to see their viewpoint, on it. Again, we're not here to agree on every point, but it's good to have conversation because there's a lot of differences of opinion going around, and I think ultimately we just want to see, because we're all three of us are Manchester United supporters. Or ultimately, we just want to see our team back at the top, and the fact that it's one of them things where we have difference of opinion. It is what it is. It makes for good viewing. So yeah, it is what it is. But listen, we're gonna get on to it anyway. We're gonna get on to Anton Semenyo, and obviously there's been news flying around the last couple of days of Anton Semenyo, choosing Manchester City. Again, why are we surprised? Anton Semenyo, was obviously in a battle between Chelsea, United, Man City, and I think there was a few other teams. I'm surprised a club like Aston Villa didn't really try for Anton Semenyo as well. Because I think if you look at the fact that Semenyo can play either side, imagine them having a Semenyo to come in, and you could either, if you wanted to rest Morgan Rogers or play him with Morgan Rogers, you've got Semenyo that can score goals. You've got pace and power as well. I thought that would have been, a good signing by Aston Villa. If you think of the fact that there's a 60 million release clause in his contract. And again, I wasn't really aware of his 60 million contract release clause, but obviously he signed it when he signed the new contract. And the fact that the likes of an Aston Villa didn't really go in for him, again, it's quite surprising, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? But I definitely do feel that they should have at least made an inquiry into Anton Semenyo, because I think it's 20 million. I think that these teams can pay, obviously in installments. And again, someone like him, I'm not a massive fan of Semenyo. I think Semenyo's a good player, and again, he's got his strengths in this league. But to think that the guy has scored goals this season, he does offer the pace and power, and he's very direct as well. Adding him to any team, should take your attack up a level, really. And what I would say first and foremost, yeah, is obviously we know that Chelsea have dropped out the running, and obviously it's looking like he's going to Man City. I mean, first and foremost, why are we surprised, really? Because you look at the way Man City are going about their business right now, and what's going to be interesting to see as well with City signing him is that you've got, and again, it's kind of testament to Pep in a way, because as we know with Pep, Pep likes, the short passing tiki taka in a sense. And the fact that Pep is identifying a Semenyo, you think of Doku that they've got already. So to have Semenyo and Doku, whether he plays them both at the same time, one on the left, one on the right, and go with pure pace and power, or whether you have, Semenyo starting, Doku on the bench, and then if things are not going right, you can use Doku as an impact sub. Again, there's options. There's options, and yeah, I agree, man. Crazy squad depth, and I think the main thing with bringing in Semenyo, yeah, is the fact that for me, this now for me cements Man City as title favourites if he does come in, because you're not only bringing in Semenyo for, the physicality that he has, he does score goals as well. And again, you'd expect the fact that Man City do create more chances for him to get even more goals at Man City. And I think it's a very smart signing by Man City if they definitely get it over the line. And obviously we're hearing that Semenyo has given his preference to Man City. But the fact that they've identified Semenyo as a January target, it's a very smart signing for me, and it's one of them things where that has to make Man City for me title favourites. And again, if you think City are not title favourites, or you agree with me that City are the new title favourites, then again, make sure you put that in the comments as well. But let's just touch on Manchester United, because for me, did I ever believe Semenyo was coming to Manchester United? No, he wasn't, because all you need to know, is the fact that you have to look at the fact, and I think there's not many people that are actually, looking at this as well, yeah. Again, if Semenyo come to mention at Manchester United, it's a case of we're all looking at it. There's obviously many people that have spoken about this already, that the possible option where Semenyo would play, which is closest to where he's playing now, would be as a wing back. Now, if you're looking at Semenyo, 25 years of age, going to be 26 next month, why would Semenyo come to a club like Manchester United, who are failing? Not to mention, Semenyo's just recently played against Manchester United, yeah? And again, if you look at the fact that Semenyo actually got into a heated argument with Diogo Dalot, yeah, who Ruben Amorim is a compatriot of, and again, Ruben Amorim rates Diogo Dalot, yeah. So if you're looking at things like this, the fact that he played against United recently in the last game, the fact that he's got into a confrontation with Dalot, and the manager that wants him is Portuguese. You put all them things into perspective, yeah. Why would Semenyo want to go to Manchester United just off the back of that? Yeah. Not to mention, as I said, he's playing probably the best sort of football that he's played throughout his career at the moment. And as I mentioned yesterday, the wing-back role is an unforgiving role. So why would Semenyo want to come to Manchester United and play at wing-back? Yeah. But the very fact that we're hearing, yeah, that Manchester United are looking to change the formation, which would have meant Semenyo coming in. For me, this means bigger than Man United missing out on Semenyo. The very fact that talk's been had, yeah, it just goes to show that this manager's is on his way out. So that's the bigger thing for me, because for me, do I think Man United should have signed Semenyo? Definitely not in this system, But if we're looking at the fact that Semenyo's more of a signing for a different system, whether it's the 4-2-3-1 or the 4-3-3, the signing for me makes sense to an extent, because if you've got Cunha and you've got Mbuemo, they're the two players you would think that Semenyo would have to be battling with in the wide areas. And of course, Ahmad can play out wide as well. So on Semenyo's part, Semenyo will be thinking to himself, and I'm sure he would as well, why would he come to Manchester United to play wing-back for one, which he's not going to want to do, and secondly, he's only going to compete with Cunha and Mbuemo for a position on the right, on the wing anyway. Not to mention, this manager that is still here rates the likes of Mason Mount as well, which he want to try and put him in his team. So again, Semenyo not coming to Manchester United. There's many factors for me why, on just on his part, it doesn't make any sense for him to come to Manchester United. But as I said, the bigger picture for me is that what was reported, United were willing to change their system to try and get Semenyo in. And as I said, the fact that Semenyo has actually chosen Man City, it just shows you really that, as I said, this manager hasn't got long left for me, because there's no way that this should be coming out really if the manager's come out and said he's never going to change his system, etc. And the fact that they were willing to change the system, that tells you everything really, that the manager hasn't got long left. And this is why for me this Newcastle game is going to be crucial, because I believe if he gets beat by Newcastle, do I think they pull the plug? I don't. But I think the Wolves game, it comes to a point now where if you don't sack him against Newcastle, if they get beat, the Wolves game is going to come down to a. And again, I do expect Man United to beat Wolves because Wolves are that bad, but it won't be easy because again, Wolves have shown against Arsenal, that they've got some sort of resilience in them. But I think the board will give him the Wolves game as a safety blanket in a sense, if even if Man United get beat by Newcastle. So yeah, we need midfielders in Man U first. I agree, but I think we have to look past that. The fact that they're actually looking at Semenyo, it goes to show that this is purely because it has to be a view to moving the manager out. Because otherwise, why would you go for Semenyo? You've invested money into Cunha and into Mbeumo, and there's no part of me that thinks Semenyo is going to come here to play wingback. So again, the very fact that Semenyo's been linked has to be to do with that they're looking to move this manager out, and that's the only kind of logical explanation that can be given, really. But yeah, listen, everyone knows we need midfielders first. I don't think anyone's actually denying that, because the midfield, to think that we've got Kobe, obviously that doesn't get any game time, to think that Casemiro, you believe that's going to be moving on at the end of the season. Bruno, as we know, is not a two in the mid is not a midfield player in the two in this system, and again, you'd expect him to be moving on at the end of the season as well. Ugarte is not good enough. So Man United definitely need midfielders, but the Semenyo one was more of an opportunity signing. Yeah. But as I said to you guys already, I'm looking at the Semenyo noise around it is the fact that this manager is on borrowed time. That's it. That's it. And because otherwise the whole Semenyo thing doesn't make any sense. Again, Chelsea, the fact that Chelsea were inquiring about Semenyo, it just speaks of desperation on Chelsea's part, and it just makes it look like their owners just ain't got a clue, because a lot of fans don't really there's a lot of fans that really don't have an eye there on the game, yeah. But I guarantee you, the majority of fans would have said, Chelsea should just go and buy someone that is a ready-made replacement for them to come in and play as a left winger, rather than go and get Garnacho and Gittins. And the very fact that Chelsea made an inquiry for Semenyo, it's actually laughable. And again, if you're a Chelsea fan, you'll be disgusted at the fact that they're trying to look at Semenyo now, because why would you spend about 90 million on Gittins and Garnacho, who everyone knew weren't good enough in the first place, to come and now say you want Semenyo? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Big up to Exedra. Big up, my guy. Big up. So where do you think Arsenal will finish in the table? For me, I think Arsenal finish outside the top two. I said this come the start of the season. I said City will win the league, And I know Liverpool haven't been great, but don't rule out Liverpool from, getting in the top three as well. Again, they're playing Wolves tomorrow, and is it not tomorrow? Sorry, they're playing Wolves in the next game, and I expect them to beat Wolves. And that's another 3 points on the table. And let's face it, Arsenal are playing Brighton, and they got Aston Villa, and I think somewhere along the lines there, I can see Arsenal dropping points. So, and Villa are 3 points behind Arsenal as well. And again, there's still a long way to go, but I can see Arsenal finishing outside the top two this season. And again, if you're an Arsenal fan, is that acceptable? Because there was people telling me that if Arteta finishes outside the top two, he deserves another season. And for me, that's just crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna say City win the league. I said City at the start. And I'm gonna say second place. I think Liverpool, Aston Villa, will be in and around there. I think, but I think everyone will probably say Arsenal top two. But I just got a feeling that Arsenal won't finish in top two. I think Arsenal at the moment, they're scraping through games. Picking up points, but how long is that going to last for? Because I know they got through yesterday against Crystal Palace on penalties, but if you just go and look at their last sort of performances, it's been concerning. So, sooner or later, these performances are going to turn into draws. So we'll have to wait and see, man. But guys, make sure we're smashing the likes. Make sure we're subbing to the channel as well. But as I said, yeah, listen, the whole Chelsea thing with them trying to go for Semenyo, and obviously they've dropped out the race now. But I wonder if they've dropped out the race because I'm trying to think. Is it because Semenyo has told them it's Man City and no one else, or is it a case where they've probably come to their senses that they've spent money on two players that they shouldn't have really got in the first place, and now it's just they can't really go for Semenyo? I don't know, but there's something that's obviously gone on there because Semenyo, I think, obviously has a 65 million release clause, and it's one of the things where I think it's in installments. You can pay 20 million, so Chelsea have got that money to spend, but it's kind of odd that they kind of exited the competition. So I reckon it's a case where they've got from Semenyo's people that he only wants Man City, and as I said to you guys earlier, him going to Man City for me has cemented Man City's as the favourites, because if you think of the options they're now going to have in the wide areas, you can now play Ryan Cherky as a 10 in his position if you really wanted to. Because I know obviously Cherky plays inverted from the right-hand side. But if you want to play Cherky in the 10 and play two pace merchants on the wings and change the outlook of the game and have Erling Haaland up top, as I said, man, it's an option. I mean, just going through when they get the players back from AFCON as well, yeah? Just have a look at City's squad, yeah? And again, this is why, for me, Pep is due to do a madness this season, whether it's Champions League or whether it's the league title. And I think the league title, for me, if they get Semenyo, that's one hand on it for me. I truly believe that, yeah? But look at their squad, yeah? They've got two goalkeepers, Donnarumma and James Trafford. They've got Matthias Nunes. Again, Nunes has come from relatively on the verge of getting sold to now being a mainstay at right back, and he's actually been performing good. So they've got Matthias Nunes and they've got Rico Lewis as the two right back options. The two left back options, you got Nico O'Reilly again, who's not only first choice for City, but he's obviously first choice for England now. And he's kind of come from nowhere. And let's not forget as well, Nico O'Reilly is actually a number 10 playing as a left back. And again, you've got him, you've got Ait Nouri as the two left back options. And if anyone knows Ait Nouri is a top left back, and he hasn't really got going at City because of injury and because of the form of O'Reilly as well. So you've got him to come back, and you can arguably say Ait Nouri is like a new signing as well. The centre-back options, you've got Ruben Diaz, Josko Gvardiol, who I think is one of the best defenders in the world, I believe as well. Obviously, he come through as a left back, left back, centre back, but he's now playing more centre back because they've got options at left back now, and you're seeing what he's doing. You've got him and Diaz as the partnership, and then backing it up, you've got the likes of John Stones and you've got Nathan Ake as well. They're moving into midfield. They're without arguably their best midfielder in Rodri, yeah. But Nico Gonzalez has come in and done a very good job, and he's getting used to the way that City play and the demands from Pep. Then you've got Reinders, who's a new signing. Foden's in very good form and showing the Foden that we're used to seeing. You've got Bernardo Silva. Again, Bernardo Silva isn't the same Bernardo Silva, but Bernardo Silva's experienced, and he's multifunctional as well. And then you've got Kovacic, who's out injured as well. You'd probably say with City, they might need another midfielder. But when you've got Rodri coming back and the options that they've got, they probably might think to themselves they might do without another midfielder. And then you've got, as I said, the attackers. You've got Doku, if Semenyo comes in. Cherky plays out there. You've got Savinho, Oscar Bob. You've got Omar Marmoush, who can't really get game time, who plays in the 10, plays from the left and can play up top. And then you've got, obviously, Erling Haaland as well. So again, just having a look at their squad, yeah, that squad is frightening. And again, adding Semenyo to that, they're going to take some stopping this season. So, yeah, man, it's crazy. Gav, how good is Semenyo actually? I mean, me personally, I think Semenyo is a good player. But I think it kind of tells you, in a sense, where football's at. Because the fact that you've got all the big teams that are after him, I can see why they're after him, in January especially. Because if you've got a player with the physicality and with the goals that he gets for a Bournemouth team, adding that to your team, it's gonna take you on a level. It surely can do. You know what I mean? And I think the fact that City want him, I can see what City are thinking. They're thinking, let's get another player in that has the physicality and that can get us goals. And again, if you get an injury to Doku and you've got Semenyo there, and again, Semenyo might even come in and start ahead of Doku. So that kind of actually might even move them on to another level because of what Semenyo's been doing this season. So, but in terms of Man United being in for him, I didn't really want Semenyo, I'll be honest with you. But it's one of them things that the positive that I'm taking out of the Semenyo interest, and the fact that he's chosen Man City is the fact that there's talk about a change in system. And if there's a change in system talk, that's telling me that the manager's on his way out. It's that simple. So, but in terms of the player himself, I just think he's a good player, a good Premier League player. And again, he's got his strengths, that he will take to Man City, and I think he'll take them on another level, man. So yeah, it's what it is, man. Nah, Akanji's at Inter Milan now. Yeah, Manuel Akanji's at Inter Milan. Big up to Andrew KL Sal. Merry Christmas. Yeah, big up, man. Big up. I think City need Doku. He's one of the only ball carriers in the team. Yeah, listen, I hear that, and this is why you'd actually think that they're bringing in Semenyo, because if you're talking about ball carriers, yeah, Ryan Cherky's a ball carrier, but he's a ball carrier in a different way. Doku's a ball carrier because it's just pure pace and strength, and Semenyo will bring that as well. Whereas Cherky's one is more technical in terms of being a ball carrier. But if they're going to bring in Semenyo, it's a smart signing. And again, the fact that Semenyo is going to cost 65 million as a total package, but you're paying 20 million in installments, it's a no-brainer, man, for City, really. I didn't see City really going in for him. But it's a smart signing that, for me, secures them one hand on the trophy for me. No doubt. But yeah, let me know what you think of the Semenyo signing, because there was people saying that Liverpool should have got in for him. And again, Liverpool were never really going to go in for him because of the outlay that they made on other signings, But Semenyo was a Liverpool type player in terms of the physicality on that left hand side. But then when you've got the likes of, I know he's out injured, Cody Gakpo, obviously Isak's out injured now. Verts can play out there. Obviously, you got Rio, obviously, he's still young as well. When you've got players like that can play in those positions, it's the Semenyo one was never really serious, and but he would have been a good acquisition for Liverpool, but they're quite stacked in the wide areas, and I know City have options as well, but City, as I said, man, they're looking to win. They're looking like this is the thing. There's Arsenal fans saying that Arsenal will win it all this season, and for me, I say that about City. I think City are looking to win it all this season with this signing, because I think this signing signals that they're looking to go all out. Because it's another signing that strengthens the squad, man. Definitely. Yeah, 100%. I think he will do well since he has a lot of experience in the Prem, but look at Isak with Liverpool. Yeah, but again, Isak was an odd signing for not an odd signing, but where Liverpool kind of didn't really, in a sense, read the room, is that they had Ekatike before they bought Isak. Now, if you're a manager and you've seen what Ekatike is doing, why would you go and spend 130 million on Isak? I know Isak had a good season for Newcastle, but it was always going to be a problem because Ekatike was showing that he could lead the line. Now, you go and get Isak. Isak's a central striker, and you're going to be forced to play Isak because of how much money was spent on him. Now, the very fact that there's been times where Isak's been on the bench or Ekatike's played out wide to play Isak, that's where the problem started. And as I said earlier, as I said on Monday with Jonas and with Fitz, the very fact that Isak is out injured now, it's a good sign for Ekatike, because Ekatike now knows he's playing week in, week out without fail, and he's the main striker now. So, as I said, man, I think it's gonna work out well for Ekatike. But in hindsight, you think to yourself, they shouldn't have signed. They shouldn't have signed Isak in the first place. That money that they spent on Isak could have gone for another defender. It could have gone for a number 6 and allowed Gravenberch to play as an 8. This is what they should have done. But the fact that he's out injured, I think he's only out for a couple of months. There was talk about him being out injured for the whole season with a broken leg, but I'm hearing it's only a couple of months. So, yeah, man. For me, the Isak one didn't make sense. But again, I think it's more of a case where they're going to have problems in the future with the Isak and Ekatike, because Ekatike is someone, and you can tell from his personality, he's not someone that's going to settle for being on the bench. He's not. So this is something later down the line that Liverpool are going to have to deal with, because do I see Liverpool playing a front two of Isak and Ekatike? I don't. So I know he can play out wide, Ekatike, but he's going to be thinking to himself, he's a central striker. So that's something along the lines that later on down the line that is going to have to be talked about, Big up to Niche Fan. Big up for subbing, for smashing the like, sorry. Guys, make sure we're sharing the channel. Make sure we're subbing, and make sure we are smashing the like button as well. In 2024, when Mbappe played his first game, Rodrigo Guain had 54 goals for Madrid, and Mbappe had 1 in 2025. Mbappe has 73, while Rodrigo has 70. Yeah, but what you don't factor into as well, yeah, is that Rodrigo isn't a player that is defined by numbers. That's the first thing. Rodrigo is also not the penalty taker. That's the second thing. And Mbappe is playing as a striker. So again, the comparison between Mbappe and Rodrigo is a bit of a silly comparison, because if it's a case to try and show that Mbappe has more goals than Rodrigo, Why does that matter? Because Rodrigo's not a striker. He doesn't take penalties, and he's not someone that you define by numbers. So it's a bit of a silly comparison, but people are going to keep doing this, unfortunately. Exactly. If only they knew how Ekatike would play, would play. But again, it wasn't hard to figure out because it was in front of their eyes. Ekatike was scoring goals before Isak came. But the problem is, they were so invested in Isak, they just made the move anyway. And again, in hindsight, yeah, it's like they're getting a player there that has proven that he scored goals at Newcastle. But again, Newcastle's system was built around to get the best out of Isak. When you're coming to Liverpool, there's a lot of players that have to be that the best has to be gotten out of because they're a bigger club. So that's where Liverpool should have seen it and thought, is it wise spending that amount of money on Isak when Ekatike is firing? This is the problem. But again, they didn't really think of that, man. Yeah, exactly. They could have saved 120 mil. Neymar is currently a free agent. Which club do you think he should play for now? It's a difficult one because the injuries. As I said, I don't know what's going to happen with Neymar because I was under the impression that this would be his last World Cup. But the fact that he's not really been called up to the squad is weird because it's looking like he's not going to make the squad. But if he is a free agent, I mean, it's difficult because this is a player that should have no shortage of takers. But if you're looking at the money that he's gonna want, the injury record, the fact that he is getting on a bit now as well, it's kind of hard to say which clubs will take him really. But as I said, for me, it's probably a a Saudi or an American kind of move for him. But I don't see him coming back to Europe, man. As much as I would like it, I just don't see it because, as I just mentioned, man, the money, the age, the injuries, I think a lot of clubs will be looking at that, man. But as I said, for me, arguably the best player of his generation, easily, And when I talk about the top players ever to play the game, in from what I've seen, he's definitely up there, So yeah, man, what a player. We were never getting Semenyo, Ineos Glazer BS, Sack Amarin, play Xerxes 9, Mbuemo right wing, Ahmad left wing, Cunha 10 when they're back. Yeah, big up Niche fan, man. As I said, the whole Semenyo thing for me, I never believed that Man United were getting Semenyo in the first place. It was just for me, just noise. And as I said, the one thing that I'm taking away from this Semenyo news is the very fact that Man United were, that there was talk about them changing the system. As soon as you're hearing talk like that, regardless of the Semenyo coming or not, that just means the manager's on his way out. It has to mean that because this manager has gone on record saying he's never going to change his system. So when we're hearing that they were willing to change the system for Semenyo, that's telling me that the manager's on his way out. It's that simple. So regardless if he's here or not, because there's no way Semenyo would say he's going to come to Manchester United to play wingback. Why would you do that when you're 25 years of age and you've got other clubs in for you that are going to play you in your position? This is what people need to kind of figure out, really. So yeah, the Man United move was never a possibility, and let's not forget as well, he recently played against Manchester United for Bournemouth, and he's had an argument with, or he's had a confrontation with a Portuguese player in Diogo Dalot for a foul. So why is he going to come to Manchester United when the manager at the moment is Portuguese and he favours his compatriot Diogo Dalot? So the Man United move was never on. So people need to look at that. That was never on. And as I said, man, it doesn't really make sense, that signing for me anyway. Vinny quite literally takes the penalties every time. Plus, Rodrigo played as a right-sided striker for Ancelotti. Again, Mbappe's the penalty taker for Real Madrid. Yeah, so I don't know where you're getting Vinicius Jr. takes the penalties every time. I'm guessing you're not a Real Madrid fan because everyone will tell you that Mbappe takes the penalties. Go and have a look at the last game. Mbappe actually took the penalty. And I know obviously people might say it was to equal Ronaldo's record, but Mbappe's the penalty taker. So I don't know where you're getting Vinny takes the penalties. Mbappe takes the penalties. And as I said, Rodrigo played as a right-sided wide forward, while Vinny played on the left. Even Rodrigo is actually a left winger. He's not a right winger. He only plays right wing because you've got two bigger profiles in Vinicius Junior, and even Mbappe is a left winger as well. They're bigger profiles than Rodrigo, so they're going to get preference at Real Madrid to play in their position. So to say that Rodrigo played as a right-sided striker, he played as a right wing forward, where Vini played on the left, and obviously Benzema, when he was there, played through the middle. But again, if you're trying to compare the fact that Mbappe has more goals than Rodrigo, like, what are we doing with this comparison? Because as I said, Rodrigo's not a player that you look at with numbers, and not to mention, Mbappe takes the penalties and Mbappe plays as a central striker. So the comparison doesn't make any sense, man. Big up to Foxy Danny as well. Guys, make sure we're smashing the like, make sure we're subbing to the channel, and make sure we're sharing the channel as well. Yeah, listen, I think, of course you'd love Neymar to come to United, of course, man, but it's not going to happen, man. Never going to happen, but yeah, that's more of a dream. Big up to Fitz, man. Big up my guy each and every time. Big up. Big up, man. Yeah, listen, I hear it, man. I hear it. Buy all three shirts. I hear it, man. Neymar's a generational player, man. So I hear it. Big up to Babs One Diva as well. Big up. Sorry I'm late, Gav. Big up. Yeah, no worries, man. No worries. As I said, make sure you're smashing that like button. Guys, when you smash the like button, it helps the channel to reach more viewers. So, again, smashing the like button if you're enjoying the content. And make sure you check out all my other content as well. And, yeah, make sure you sub to the channel. And make sure you share the channel as well. And big up to everyone coming through yesterday as well for the stream yesterday with myself at your boy Truance and with Owen from B2R Sport as well. So we actually went for 4 hours and 44 minutes. So yeah, long stream, but it was a good one, man. It was literally just pure footballing talk. Obviously, those two are Manchester United fans as well. So yeah, it was a bit of a back and forth, but again, it was difference of opinion, but it was good conversation. So yeah, big up to everyone that stayed up to that late, man. 4 hours and 44 minutes ain't no joke. So yeah, big up, man, to all of you that come through and stay to the end. Manager is a fraud. I don't think change of tactic means he's on his way out necessarily. Yeah, my guy. I listen. I hear that. Yeah, but what I'm taking from the Semenyo news, yeah, is that even though he's chosen Man City, the very fact that there's talk about a system change, it means the manager hasn't got long left because he's categorically said, you know, he's not going to change his system. So the fact that this talk is now coming out, there has to have been talk about him adapting his formation or changing it, you know. So as I said, it's more or less telling me that, you know, he hasn't got long left because otherwise this talk wouldn't have been had. And the fact that Semenyo, as I said, had options to go Tottenham, who he snubbed, Chelsea, who were interested where they ended their interest, City, United, talk about Liverpool. Again, I'm surprised Aston Villa didn't make a move for him, and that would have showed their credentials this season as well. But the very fact that he had all those options, there is no way he would have agreed to come and play as a wing back, which is where he would have played if he come to United. So the fact that they were looking to change the system is telling me that this manager hasn't got long left. So yeah, man. So Vinny skied the penalty the previous game. I think you find the previous game, they who did they beat? They beat did they win 2-1? I can't remember. They won 2-1. I think Bellingham scored and then Mbappe scored the penalty. But again, it's not. I'm not here to tell you about Vinny Sky and the penalty. If you don't think Mbappe takes the penalties, then it's telling me you haven't really watched a lot of Real Madrid because Mbappe is the penalty taker. Go and look at how many penalties he's scored he's taken this season. So Mbappe is the penalty taker. So as I said, if you're trying to compare Mbappe and Rodrigo, they're two players you don't really compare when it comes to numbers because there's no context in it really. So I genuinely think Neymar is as good as Messi. Bro, listen, that's not even a wild shout, yeah? For me, for me, Messi, for what he's done in his career, in terms of what he's won, the amount of joy he's given, not just to myself, but to many people watching him throughout the years, it's hard to say that Neymar is as good. But when we're talking from an absolute technical level, Neymar is as good as Messi. Messi, you would say, has had a better career in terms of the Ballon d'Ors, but we know Ballon d'Or is a popularity anyway. Because if Neymar wasn't in the era of Messi and Ronaldo, Neymar would have dominated the Ballon d'Ors, definitely. But if when we're saying Neymar's as good as Messi, for me, from a technical standpoint, he is. In terms of the career, you would say Messi has had a better career in terms of what he's won, individual accolades, the World Cup, etc., Champions Leagues. But if anyone's thinking Neymar's not on the level in terms of ability-wise, then he is. So, yeah, 100%, man. He is 100%. Thiago Silva to Porto is confirmed. Endrick to Lyon alone. Yeah, the Endrick one I heard about, actually. Endrick to Lyon. And it's a mad one with Lyon, with Endrick, to be honest with you, because Endrick has purely gone to Lyon because it's about the what's the name? The World Cup prospects. So I could see why Endrick's gone there. And again, Endrick's someone that's just been forgotten about. And this is why, it's all well and good going to Real Madrid, to further your career, etc. But it's also a wrong move because they're the kind of club, man, that, there's certain players that are just going to play regardless. And a lot of it comes down to do with the whole Galacticos and the popularity of the player. As soon as Mbappe came to Real Madrid, Endrick wasn't playing regularly before Mbappe came there anyway, because, again, Endrick was behind Benzema. But as soon as there was talk about Mbappe, Endrick was never going to play because Mbappe is, in terms of PR, is top 3 in the world in terms of PR. So he was never gonna play ahead of Mbappe. And again, this is why his name's kind of died down. So again, him going to Lyon, if he starts scoring goals at Lyon, it could force himself into the picture for the World Cup for Brazil. And who knows, it might even lead to him getting a move, because as long as Mbappe is there, there's no striker that's going to displace Mbappe. So what's Mbappe now? I think he's just turned, 27, I believe, yeah? As long as he stays fit and healthy, Mbappe, he's going to be there for the next 5 to 8 years, you would say. Yeah, he'll probably see out his career there. So there's going to be no striker that overtakes him. There ain't, because again, it's the PR and it's the and look at the goals the amount of goals he's getting as well. So Endrick going to Lyon is a good move for his career, man, because I believe Endrick's only is he 19 or 20? You know what I mean? He needed to move, man, for that. Rafinha deserved the FIFA Best Award and deserved the spot in the World 11. Listen, Rafinha had a great season, but I don't think he deserved the FIFA award, not for me. The spot in the World 11, again, if I'm looking at the wide areas, if you're looking at the wide areas, yeah, and fitting the players into the lineup, for me, if I'm looking at the front three, it would have been Yamal, Kane, and Dembele. I know Dembele played as a false 9, but Dembele had to be in there. So again, Rafinha wouldn't have got in there for me, because Yamal had to be there, Harry Kane had to be there for me, and or even if you wanted to put Mbappe through the middle. But I would have picked Harry Kane, and then Dembele had to be there for me. So yeah, he wouldn't have made the World 11 for me, and he wouldn't have won the best award. But I hear it if you think he should have won it, because the numbers he had that season, last season, was insane. So I hear it. No, I hear your logic, Gav, but I can see him actually going back on his word. We've seen him change the tactics mid-match. He would 100% change to survive if needed. Yeah, but again, like I don't deny that, but this is where he's on the end of being booted at the club, because he's categorically said he's not going to change anything. Now, if he starts doing the changes, yeah, he's obviously on his way, because how long do Ineos keep him in charge if the results are continuing to fail? He's now changing. That's telling me everything. Put it that way, because if he was getting good results, he wouldn't change. The fact that he's now starting to change, it has to have been from upstairs. They have to have told him that something needs to change for him to go and do that. So is what it is, man. Again, I'm tired of the whole Ruben Amorim thing, man. Amorim just needs to bounce. They need to get rid of him. It's that simple, man. And I'm looking at it as he's not really that far off. Yeah, I hear it. Hendrick fitting in at Leipzig. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, there was probably quite a few clubs he could have gone to, but the Leon one, maybe he knows something that we don't. But again, I'm not sure if you guys have actually seen Liga, the actual table. Yeah, I see it yesterday. Yeah, and I couldn't believe that Lons are actually top. So Lons are top. PSG are second. Marseille are third. And Monaco, who are in the top three, Monaco are actually ninth. And again, people that say that the Liga is a farmers league, yeah, go and have a look at what's happening in that league right now, because it's actually shocked me to see that Lons are actually top. You know what I mean? Lons are top by a point from PSG. And then you got Marseille, who are third. And they said Monaco were actually in the top three, and they've dropped off all the way to ninth. And again, let me check the Liga table to see how many points it is. Let me 1 minute. So, guys, we're going to wrap it up in 10 minutes. So, let's see the League One standings. So, yeah, guys, look. When I see this for myself, I couldn't believe it, yeah? So, 16 games played, yeah? Lons are top on 37 points. PSG are second. And bearing in mind, all teams have played the same amount of games, yeah? PSG are second on 36. Marseille and Lille are joint third on 32 points. Lyon are fifth on 27 points with Rennes. And then you got Strasbourg, Toulouse, and Monaco locked in on 23 points, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And even Angers are 10th on 22. So again, people saying that the French league is a farmers league, it's actually a very similar thing to what's going on in the Premier League right now. So again, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. Just when I see Lons were top, as I said, man, I did not expect that. So it's showing, man, that these other leagues, man, they shouldn't be slept on, you know. Gav, I'm starting to understand what you're saying about Bellingham now. The PR was blinding me. Mbappe is generally a world-class player with good PR. Bellingham is propped up by PR. Yeah, big up the niche fan. Listen, whenever I say something, yeah, I don't just say things for the sake of it. Yeah, I always back up what I say. And as I said to you know, guys people that have been watching me for any amount of time, yeah, you know, I'm well versed in football in terms from watching, playing, and just viewing it for my whole life. Yeah, and the whole thing with Bellingham, yeah, it's not even a personal thing. It's just that I've seen too many good players to be fooled by someone who I don't even rate as a player. And when you get people saying that, you know, I've had people telling me in the past, you know, he's got the potential to be better than Zinedine Zidane. Like, that's the worst one, yeah? I've got people telling me that he's a number 10. I've got people telling me that he's England's best player, England's best 10 when he's not a 10. These are all the things that people have come out with, yeah? And that can only be from PR, not from what you're seeing, yeah? Because there's no one that can tell me that Jude Bellingham is a top player. He's not. He's just a good player, yeah, with physicality in a league, in the La Liga that doesn't have physicality. If he come back to the Premier League, he'll just be another player that has physicality. Because he's not someone that you look at and say he's a highly technical player. He's not that. So, as I said, man, in terms of the PR that he's got, when I mention Mbappe and PR, Jude Bellingham's up there. Jude Bellingham has arguably, along with Mbappe, the best PR in the game right now. And that's why people are confused to think that he's a top player. Don't look at his PR. Look at what you see from him. And I've watched Jude Bellingham enough times to know that this guy is just an average player with physical attributes. That's it. And as I said, we're going to get more onto it at the end of the season when the England squad gets announced, yeah? But Thomas Tuchel has a big decision to make. And the one surrounding Jude Bellingham is the one for me, because when you're seeing what Morgan Rogers is doing, when you know the abilities that Cole Palmer has, if you see what Foden's doing, and then you got the guys like Eze, guys like a Grealish, players that can play in the 10, Jude Bellingham doesn't fit in there. And this is why I'm looking at, when he chooses his squad, what's going to happen, because something's got to give. And I think it's going to be an unpopular opinion amongst the PR side of Jude Bellingham. But for me, he doesn't go to the World Cup. He doesn't get chosen. And there's many reasons why, in my opinion, he shouldn't go, that I've spoken about before already. So yeah, I was massively blinded by it. Bellingham rides on Mbappe's coattails, but gets the same recognition. Again, if we're looking at Mbappe, yeah, Mbappe as a footballer that I like to watch isn't really to my liking. But one thing you can't deny with Mbappe is that Mbappe is a big game player. If you look at if you want to include his numbers as well, yeah, I get that. But as I said, man, with Mbappe, if people want to say Mbappe is world class, then I wouldn't disagree, because, as I said, based on the big game temperament and him showing up, the fact that the numbers as well, I can't really deny that, yeah. But when it comes to Jude Bellingham's not world class. I'd argue that of anyone. Like, he's not a world class player, because if I was to ask anyone, why do you think he's world class? The only thing people will point to is numbers, yeah? But his numbers only happen off of one season, and we know why that is. It's because he was playing as a false nine come most advanced midfielder in Real Madrid. The very fact that there's a striker there now and he's not playing in that system will tell you why his numbers were only there for one season. So again, people will only tell you he's world class because of PR and because of perceived numbers that he hasn't really got. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm not buying it, man. Not gonna lie, Gav, looking fresh with that new haircut. Yeah, big up, man, big up. When am I not looking fresh, man? Come on. Nah, big up, man. As I said, I always try and get a fresh trim, man, every 2 or 3 weeks. So it was that time, man. So yeah, it is what it is. But big up. Gav, I hope you're right, bro. Need him gone for the future of our club. Yeah, listen, man. You and me both, man. And as I said, this can't continue any longer. Again, I was going back and forth with Truance and with Owen yesterday. And again, the way that they're looking at it is that Amarim needs more time. Again, I'm not going to get with the more time talk. Again, it's their opinion, but you're not going to hear me agree with the more time that Amarim needs, because I've seen enough. There's a lot of people that have seen enough of Amarim. And he just isn't a good manager. It's okay to admit when you've got it wrong. And on this one, they've got it wrong with Amarim. So it is what it is, man. Right, guys, I'm going to go through a few more of your questions and comments, and I'm going to wrap it up from there. But big up. Make sure you're smashing the like button, and make sure you're subbing to the channel as well. Lons is going to pull a 2021 thing. They're going to win it over PSG. Boy, I mean, they're top at the moment, man. So I can't really disagree with that. But I think PSG win it in the end, if I'm honest. But to think that Lons are top, man, I didn't see that one. I'll be honest with you. I haven't really been paying much attention to Liga, but yeah, man, it's crazy. Yeah, Liga literally is competitive. So when you're hearing people say that it's a farmers league, like, it's nonsense. This is more of a farmers league, the Premier League, than what Liga is. You know, nah, Serie A is not the best league, not for me, man. No way, no way, man. Has there ever been a question which made you feel angry, even though it wasn't a hateful question? No, not really, man. That's hard to answer, but no, I would say no. Yeah, listen, Igor Thiago is second top goal scorer to Erling Haaland this season. So again, he's another one. He's another one that's in contention for Brazil's squad. And again, if you look at Brazil's strikers that they could possibly choose from, yeah, I can't actually tell you who's going to be their main striker, because you're looking at João Pedro, Richarlison, Igor Thiago comes into it, Endrick if he gets form at Lyon, Gabriel Jesus if he proves his form and fitness. So look, there's options there, man, for them. Even Igor Jesus at Nottingham Forest, you know, he might be in contention. Who knows? But again, man, you're not gonna see a better striker than R9 for me. Like, that's the main number 9 that I remember at Brazil, man. No one's come close to that. You know, no one. Yeah, them man made it a handicap match last night. Couldn't believe some of the points they made. Very United standards from Owen and Truance. But yeah, bro, listen, man. Like, you know what it is, yeah. I actually enjoyed it yesterday because, you know, it's one of them things where they had their opinion, I had mine, and it was a back and forth, innit? And you know, I like conversations like this because it's not about them agreeing to your point, but it's giving them a different stance on it. And again, someone like myself, yeah, like, as I said, I'm well versed in football, and it's not black and white for me in when certain things, even when they were saying that these players are not good enough, you know. And as I said, like, for me, as a squad, this squad for me is no doubt a top 6 minimum squad. I'd argue that of anyone. They're a top 6 minimum. I'm not saying that Man United should be going to win league titles, you know, or definitely get in the top 4. I think if you're looking at this season, the way a lot of teams have performed, you would have to say that United should be higher with a better manager. But when they're saying that these players are not good enough, that's a problem on Ruben Amorim, because he's got them thinking that these players are shit because of how the team has been set up. But there's no part of me that's going to say that the likes of De Ligt, Yoro, Ahmad, Xerxes, Mbuemo, Cunha, Mainu, you know, these players are not good, because to me they are. Mazraoui as well. These are good enough players. And as I said, Man United right now are 7th, yeah? They should be higher if they had a better manager and in a better system. But again, you take away the individuals, we're probably lower. But for me, when they were saying that Amorim deserves more time and it's the players, etc. Again, people have these opinions, but again, sometimes it's not. It's a lot more deeper than what they're saying. Because when they're saying to me that Xerxes is not good enough, etc. Again, Xerxes might not be their type of striker, but again, it's like, don't look at Xerxes what you want him to be. Look at him for what he is. And Xerxes is not a striker that's going to score you 40, 50 goals. But what he'll do is that he'll make players around him better. And that's what football's about, making players around you better. But then when I'm asking you to, when I'm saying to them, name me a striker that you would take. You know, when they're telling me Harry Kane's not realistic because yes, I agree. Harry Kane is a striker that Man United should have got Harry Kane when Harry Kane was about 23 when he was doing what he was doing at Tottenham. But to get Harry Kane now is not realistic because the guy is the wrong side of 30. He's on the decline as well. And Man United is not set up for a Harry Kane. So that's not really realistic. Not to mention how much Harry Kane's going to cost. And if you're looking at the fact that United now trying to look at their wage bill, the Harry Kane one is just a fantasy, really. And then Dominic Calvert-Lewin, it's like that's just recency bias because Calvert-Lewin's got 7 goals at Leeds. But that doesn't mean Dominic Calvert-Lewin will come and score goals for Manchester United. It doesn't mean that. It just means that he's having a good time at the moment for Leeds. And again, you got to factor in he has had injuries as well. So again, a lot of it was like recency bias or fantasy for me. But again, everyone's free to their opinion, and that's what it's about, man. But yeah, listen, it was an interesting conversation yesterday, man. And as I said, man, it was 4 hours and 44 minutes, you know, of back and forth, man. So it was a good conversation, man. Yeah. Will Xavi Simons become good again? I mean, it depends what you're kind of looking at him in the first place, because I've always looked at Xavi Simons as a good player, but for me, if you're saying about him becoming a special player, I don't get it, man. But I don't think he will do. But he's a good player, but I don't think he's the level that many think he is, if I'm honest. Yeah, I see Napoli won the Italian Super Cup. Yeah, I see that. So yeah, but guys, listen, I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna try and get in the gym, man, because it's shutting early today. So yeah, man. Obviously Christmas Eve as well. And guys, listen, I hope everyone has a good Christmas. You know, obviously, as I said to you guys, I will be streaming tomorrow at 8 p.m. So it's gonna be a Christmas special live sports Q&A. So sports Q&A, you guys just give me your questions. It can be about any sport. It can be about real life stuff as well. So yeah, listen, we're going to do a sports Q&A. You know, I know some of you guys will be wrapped up in on your Christmas day with family, etc. But yeah, listen, obviously I'm still going to do some content. So yeah, there'll be content Christmas Day, Boxing Day as well. The reaction to the Man United game against Newcastle. So yeah, make sure you guys, if you can, come through at 8 p.m. Tomorrow. And yeah, appreciate you guys again for coming through and supporting the channel. And as always, as I said, make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you sub to the channel. And make sure you share the channel as well. And yeah, big up to everyone that has been supporting the channel, man. It means a lot, as I said. Yeah, big up Fitz, man. Big up my guy. Yeah, listen, as I said, there's some good content on there as well, guys. So as I said, the stream yesterday with Owen from B2R Sport and Truants, again, that was just another, obviously, we played against their five-a-side team. And again, they've got pedigree in this country in terms of what they've done and who they've played against. So, yeah, if you guys didn't check that stream from yesterday, yeah, try and give it a watch back as we ran back through the game, the reaction to the game. And as I said, big up to everyone that stayed to the end, man. As I said, 4 hours and 44 minutes, which was a very long one. But yeah, as I said, much appreciated you guys coming through and supporting the channel. So yeah, make sure you guys have a nice Christmas. And if I don't speak to any of you guys before, as I said, man, yeah, enjoy your Christmas, enjoy your rest. And we get back to work tomorrow at 8 p.m. So as I said, yeah, make sure you guys come through. And on your way out, smash the like button, as I said. Sub to the channel, share the channel. And yeah, I'll catch you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. And yeah, Merry Christmas. Take it easy.